Hello and welcome to YHTV's Flowing into Awareness with visionary and master intuitive Anatara. Hi, I'm Christina Souza, your host of this program. Today's topic is the ever flexible now. Oh, what a great title. And here is the beautiful Anatara to share with us.
Hi, Christina. How are you?
Hello, Anatara. I love it. The ever flexible now.
Well, you look pretty flexible.
Well, just using that title makes me want to keep moving. I love it.
I know. Well, we have so many ways in which we can express our flexibility. You know, think about the body and how it can flex and bend and move, and then there's your mind. Your thoughts can bend and flex when they hear something new and express their creativity through flexibility. And as we become these lives that we are, our levels of flexibility, they ebb and they flow in different areas. So as a child, our bodies are just deliciously flexible. You watch a kid playing and they're not holding back, and there aren't any aches or pains, and they don't have a little story in their mind that says, I'm not allowed to move this way. Mm-hmm. You know, they use the furniture, they use the toys that they see, they use everything inside the house and outside of the house. They remain in this beautiful flexibility. And it is a flexibility of thought. It's a flexibility of desire. It's being in what I'm calling the ever flexible now. Because the only place that we truly can be flexible is when we are feeling now. So what does feeling now mean? It means that we're not thinking about how flexible we used to be or how flexible we're going to be when we get in shape or do yoga for a while. We're just being with whatever movement of thought and mind and body and spirit we feel in the ever flexible now. And I was just contemplating that things like yoga, things like stretching, Tai Chi, going for a walk, swimming, when we are feeling inflexible about something, you know, whether it's because we're stuck in a thought or we're mad at an ex-partner or something at work just isn't going the way we want to, even if we're just frustrated with one of our kids. If we do something that shows us what it feels like to be flexible physically, there will be a cascading experience that happens to the other levels of our being. And when we can let our being be flexible in any one arena of life, of all that we are, then everything else benefits from it. And as long as we remember that we need to be in the now to be truly flexible, then we aren't using an inflexible story to bolster how we feel about being flexible. So, you know, as usual, I'm sort of running around in circles, some words to describe what the ever flexible now really is and what it can mean for us to be looking for, you know, ways to be flexible and to be looking for thoughts about being flexible. So what have you noticed recently about your friends, yourself, and flexibility or non-flexibility? Because that's always a good place to start when we're looking around for how we feel about flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely, Anatara. And you know as I'm still and I listen to conversations and I'm present, allowing the events to happen around me, I realize that so many of us, we don't listen. We don't take the time to listen to one another and what each other are saying. Instead, we have a point of view, immediate, as opposed to being flexible, as you say, to being open to what others are sharing.
Yeah, and that is so vital. I love the way you describe that, because as we are not listening, not paying attention, there can be no flexibility in the moment. We've brought an agenda or an idea with us into whatever's going on, and superimposing that on who we're with and what they're trying to tell us. And I want to ask you another question in a minute, but before I do, I want to point out that we may be engaged with someone who is not being flexible. We may be engaged a lot with people who are not being very flexible in mind or body. And our true test of flexibility is whether we can not hold on to our own flow, but just be present in our own coming and goings of thoughts and feelings and emotions as whoever that is presents their side of their inflexible story.
Oh, yes, I know that well. As I stand there and go, am I being inflexible right now?
And, you may be able to put on a nice face that makes you look like you're being flexible, but what are your thoughts saying about that person who seems to go over and over things or is so caught or is so much pain that they're not being flexible? So every single interaction, every single thing we see gives us a demonstration of what the infinitely flexible now is all about. And imagine how special it is when much of the time or most of the time you remain flexible. You remain fluid in everything that's happening for you. You could even have a very serious injury and stay flexible with the solution to the pain. You could be taken away in an ambulance. You could have a fear come up that, oh, this is very serious. I might be in real trouble here. And you stay present for the next flexible thought, which is, and these amazing people are taking care of me. Mm-hmm. Or you have the feeling that something horrible is going to happen to somebody that I love. And instead of digging into the roots of what that pain does to you and what the thoughts about that pain do to you, you may want to be as flexible as possible and as open as possible to whatever shows up and teaches you how to work with what that fear is. So even fear and pain and separation and almost anything that you can imagine that we don't like can teach us about how to stay flexible. So I have this little suggestion for everyone, which is to put your observation glasses on, and after you listen to this, step back into your world with the idea that you are looking for the ways in which you are being flexible. Now, it may be that it's your inflexibility that you see first. And you say to yourself, ooh, I'm not very flexible. That was not a very easy way for me to look at things. But just seeing that as well will take you back into your flexibility. You can make a choice about how you may instead work with whatever it was that you saw in yourself that was inflexible. Again, lots and lots of words.
Great words.
But just take on this little bit of a challenge. When we're finished talking, just look around at where you see yourself being flexible and where you see that you're not as flexible. You're going to know it as a feeling. You're going to know it as a hunch. You're going to sense it inside and in your mind because you know it so well. And then you'll become more and more familiar with where you are inflexible. Now, I'm not going to ask you to reveal any truths about yourself right now. But do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's very timely. Coming close to the end of a year, beginning of a new year, when we all tend to reflect on what we've done. I believe this is very timely that we need to look inward to say, okay, this is a nice shift, because it's a shift where it's like one drop is 1,000 waves. It's a chain reaction to a level of consciousness, daily consciousness in the moment.
That's such a beautiful way to say it. And there were some words you used a moment ago, which I've already forgotten. But
as I.
and the essence of it was, let's not be afraid of what we are not flexible about. Let's not be afraid of the things that show us that we are more rigid than we might want to be. Let us instead love those things and love them for the teachers and the points of reference that they are. Because as we flexibly look at them in a flexible now that has no fear, that has no judgment, that is not holding back and saying, I'm not allowed to be inflexible, then the flexibility can really teach us. It's here for us. It can give us so much information about ourselves.
Beautiful, Anatara. Very nice. Oh, thank you. What a moment of being flexible. We would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us in this new platform of education and information. We're grateful for your continuous support, and we look forward to hearing your feedback on how we can serve you better. You can connect with Anatara by following her on Twitter @Anatara, and of course through her own website, anatara.ca. We would always love to hear your comments, questions, feedbacks. Please feel free to give us a call at 818-LETS-TALK. 818-LETS-TALK. Until next time, namaste.
The sort of magic that keeps the clinical work fresh for me.
When you see their faces change and they suddenly become more open.
That's right. And they start to rediscover or re-experience those feelings of bondedness and closeness and attachment that brought them together in the first place. That's really wonderful to see. It doesn't always go that way, of course, but when it does, that's a very exciting moment.